I was ready to quit. When I was in my early 20s, I was still rocking a dad bod even though I was already working out. I wasn't really making any gains, and I thought I was doing all the right things. It was extremely frustrating. That is until I made what I now refer to as the switch, where everything changed. It completely transformed my body. A decade and a half later, I'm still able to maintain my results. I'll give you the full story and how I was able to do it, but first, let me give you some context that's really important to understand all of this. If you've been following my channel, you'll know how important having a lot of lean muscle tissue is when it comes to fat loss and optimal health. Muscle is your metabolic currency. It's the key driver of your metabolism. If you really want to keep it simple, muscle is metabolism. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. That's how you become a fat burning machine. But the only way to build and maintain muscle is through resistance training and fueling your body properly by prioritizing high quality protein. Now, there's two terms you need to know when it comes to resistance training. First is rate of perceived exertion, or RPE. An RPE of 10 out of 10 is basically a 1 rep max effort. When you're doing a back squat, for example, the bar is moving in slow motion. When you're deadlifting, that's when your legs start to shake. That is an RPE of 10 out of 10. You literally can't do another rep even if your life depended on it. You don't have any more reps in reserve. And that's the other term you need to know. That's what's on the y-axis, RIR. So rate of perceived exertion or reps in reserve are actually similar terms. They're directly proportional to each other. So we can put them on a grid and they'll correlate very well. For example, if you're working out at an RPE of 10 out of 10 on deadlifts, again, the bar is moving in slow motion and you're doing the shakes. Or let's say you're doing a pull-up and now you're doing the running man. You don't have any more reps in reserve. That's it. You've maxed out. Full stop. But let's say you're doing a back squat with an RPE of 9 out of 10. You're moving slow, it's really hard. But if somebody points a gun to your head to do more, you might be able to squeeze out one more rep. That means you have one more rep in reserve. Now, here's the disconnect. The average person only works out twice a week. But if you do the right workout at the right intensity, 2 days is actually enough to get results. You don't need to go to the gym 5, 6, or 7 days a week. It's just not happening. The problem is, if you've been misinformed about exercise and you spend your 2 precious days doing traditional cardio like jogging or just going like this on the elliptical machine because you want to burn calories, I hate to break it to you, you have zero chance of building muscle. That's why you see the same people just doing cardio every day at the gym, but they look the same. In fact, you're giving the signal to your body to actually lose muscle when all you do is cardio because cardio is catabolic. Catabolic means to break down. So purely doing just traditional cardio is how people end up with that skinny fat look. But even the average person who sees the value in doing resistance training, when they train, they usually only go at an RPE of 5 out of 10, which means they still have 5 reps in reserve. They're leaving precious and valuable reps on the table. The reps that actually make the difference. And that's where most people are that are stuck in no man's land. After the initial newbie gains where they go from a completely sedentary lifestyle with zero exercise to doing some exercise, they make tremendous gains, even if they're just operating at an RPE of 5 out of 10. But that will only take you so far. The magic of muscle building lies in this area. This is the sweet spot. Way too many people are over here. And that's often when you see people just messing around, they're on their phone, or maybe you're doing a bar class or other group fitness workouts. Most well-meaning people do their workouts for the 2 days they do work out at an RPE of 5, maybe 6. Again, let me emphasize that an RPE of 5 is better than nothing. You're still getting benefits. You're still improving insulin sensitivity and blood glucose control. You get stronger bones. It strengthens your heart. It improves immune function. It elevates your mood, for example. But you're not getting arguably the most important adaptation, which is giving your muscles enough stress that will induce the necessary adaptive changes for it to grow. You're not getting the hypertrophy. Full stop. If you want to build muscle, you need to start working at the RPE range of 8 to 10 or the reps in reserve between 1 to 3. Your workout needs to be challenging. You need to train at an intensity where you can maybe do 1 or 2 more reps per set. That's where the magic happens. So if you're wondering why you're going to the gym, which again is better than not going to the gym, but you're doing these fluffy workouts, you're barely breaking a sweat, you're not even breathing hard, it's because you're operating at an RPE of 3. You have 7 more reps in reserve. You're not using enough weights to stimulate your muscles to grow. When you operate at an RPE of 5, 4, 3, it's basically cardio. Again, better than nothing, but far from optimal when it comes to muscle building. I mean, you're already at the gym. That's the hardest part, so you need to put in an honest effort. You need to make your workout count. Just look at the people in the health space that look like they actually work out. The Dr. Gabriel Lyons of the world. Dr. Sean Baker, who looks like that at 55 years old and is hormone and drug free. There's also Dr. Nick, absolutely in top shape. There's Dr. Ellie Michelle, who looks like that. If you see their workouts on social media, they're putting in the work. They're all training in that 8 out of 10 RPE sweet spot. And by the way, wouldn't you rather take health advice from a fit-looking doctor? Personally, I prefer taking advice from someone who walks the talk. They also fuel their bodies properly by prioritizing high-quality protein in the form of animal protein every day. That's also the exact same nutrition and exercise strategy I use to transform my body. I went from making zero gains to being a national level weightlifter in Canada. Even now in my mid-30s, I still continue to make gains. We need to start normalizing getting fitter as we age. And if you want to work with me, you can book a free consultation to join the Fat Loss Accelerator VIP program by clicking the link in the description and comments below. Again, when you train in that 8 out of 10 RPE or 1 to 3 RIR, the muscles get damaged. That's what literally happens when you train hard enough. And the adaptation is hypertrophy. Your body builds more muscle in order to handle that same stimulus better next time. So the next time you work out, you need to think to yourself, how many more reps could I have done? If you could have easily done 4 or 5 more reps, you didn't work out hard enough. You're not gonna see changes. And that's where most people find themselves. Now, if you're just doing home workouts, you can still use this RPE concept. If you just do 5 push-ups and call it a day, you're not gonna see any growth. But if you do 50, and I'm just throwing out random numbers here, because everyone's starting point is different, there's a world of difference between doing just 5 push-ups versus 50. Do that a few times a day to accumulate enough volume to trigger hypertrophy. Think about prisoner training. They get jacked just doing bodyweight workouts. The key is they do enough volume. Same thing with gymnasts. But again, you need to be struggling to fight for those last few reps. Whether you're doing a loaded back squat or just air squats. If you're not making funny faces at the end of every set, you're not working out hard enough. Now, if you're lifting weights, for safety and injury prevention reasons, not every set needs to be a 10 out of 10 RPE. But you also definitely don't want to be in the 3, 4, or 5. An RPE of 8 out of 10 is the sweet spot. If you know your numbers, it's 80 to 85% of your 1 rep max. For example, if you're doing a back squat, work up to a heavy 3x3. That's 3 sets of 3 reps at 85% of your max. You can also do 5x5 at 80%. And that's another important thing. If you want to maximize your muscle building potential, focus on the 3 big lifts: the squat, deadlift, and overhead press. They're compound movements that work multiple muscle groups at a time. You can get an experienced friend to show you proper technique, or you can invest in a personal trainer. Don't waste your time doing bicep curls, for example, to work a muscle the size of an orange. Do deadlifts or work on your pull-ups instead. If you want nice looking glutes, do deadlifts and squats. You're never gonna get there doing a side-lying leg lift. So if you want to build muscle, you want to change your physique, you want nice looking arms, legs, and glutes, start doing your workouts at an RPE of 8 out of 10 doing compound movements. Make your workouts count. Now, if you just want my help and provide you a shortcut through all the trial and error, tap into over a decade of my coaching experience, helping hundreds of people achieve their fat loss goals, you can book a free consultation to join my Fat Loss Accelerator VIP program by clicking the link in the description and comments below. You can also check out this video where I do a deep dive why it's so much harder to lose weight after you hit your 30s. I'll see you there.